If we're quick to point out when things aren't done well, shouldn't we be just as quick to highlight when things are done really well? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'll be talking about something that happened at the Zealous Games, actually something that was done really well. So well, in fact, to the point that I didn't actually watch it live because on Saturday I was busy doing 6 hours of torturous cardio for the triathlon. You can visit their Instagram if you want to see what that was all about. But I received a number of messages about the Zealous Games, all saying the same thing. And it wasn't just to let me know what a beast Tudor Magda is, but it was all saying the same thing. Did you hear Brian Friend? Now, I've mentioned Brian Friend on the podcast before. I think his reputation is well known and respected within the CrossFit space, but this weekend saw him take on a slightly different role. So before we get to that, just a little bit more context around the Zealous Games. So the Zealous Games was a competition that was taking place both in Las Vegas as well as online. Now, there was a lot of buzz surrounding this competition. They had done some incredibly smart things by bringing in people that were definitely going to bring attention to the event, such as getting Andrew Hiller, Mr. No Rep himself, to be their head judge. Now, of course, if we don't live near Las Vegas, we might have wondered how could we possibly watch this? Well, they had also organized a live stream. And that's really where I want to dive in today, to talk about this live stream. Because I have mentioned it before, the fact that now technology means we have the infrastructure in place to run a relatively easy and simple live stream at a fraction of the cost of what something like the Games is putting on. Now, of course, you're not going to have all the bells and whistles that you would have at a live stream, for example, at the CrossFit Games or one of the semi-final events, but I'm very much a something is better than nothing kind of guy. In fact, in the past, myself, together with a great little team of Sam LaRoche, Claire Kemp, Jake Brinkman, my wife Rochelle, we were actually able to put on a live stream for the British Teens and Masters Championships using StreamYard. And that's exactly what the Zealous Games did. They were able to bring in the Sevan Podcast, and of course that brought with it an incredible team of people that could make this stream a real success. And I definitely think things like StreamYard are an incredible tool that more competitions could use if they want to run a live stream to highlight their event. And this now leads on to the discussion about Brian Friend, because Brian has provided commentators at semi-finals and the Games with a tremendous amount of information in the past. But at the Zealous Games, he actually stepped up to be the commentator himself. I just wanted to share a few clips of exactly how that went. So let's just start with this.
Brian, can you tell me the names of the guys starting in lane 4, and go down?
Yep, lane 4 with the Mayhem athlete shirt on there, Logan Ewing. Next to him in the gray, Lionel Franco. In the colorful attire there in the middle, we have Dennis Samsonov. And far into the floor is Tudor Magda. I think I picked both Tudor and Logan to do well on this workout. Again, they're on the outside lanes, but I'm expecting them. I mean, I'm not really sure what to expect time-wise here, but I think that sub 430, meaning they'll stay in the top 5 overall for this workout, is something that I'm looking for both Tudor and Logan, at least in this heat.
So I've made it clear in the past how I feel about commentators not knowing the names of athletes or getting people's names wrong. Here we see Brian break down the field, we get everybody's name, what they're wearing, so I'm really prepped and ready to watch the event. I know who everybody is, I'm going to be able to follow the calls that he makes. He also gives a little bit of extra information with regards to the sort of times I should be looking out for, so I can understand what would be a good time in this heat, and also how that could potentially impact the bigger picture. And then the event starts.
Oh, we may get a false start.
Right away, immediately from the start, Logan Ewing is doing the drop and reset method. All the other guys are going to the touch and go. It did cost him 1 rep in this round, but again, the first round is not where this workout is won. You can lose it here. Tudor is setting a pretty good early pace in terms of movement quality, wasted no time getting up on the barbell, and he's got a 1.5 rep lead on the rest of the field starting these thrusters.
So I really love this. It's a breakdown, nice play-by-play, what everybody's doing, and I understand exactly how far ahead Tudor is. And also, just a side note, in the bottom corner of the screen, I can also see the rest of the field. So if I was looking out for one particular athlete because they're my personal favorite for some reason, even though the main camera isn't focusing on them, I would still be able to follow what that other athlete is doing. Now, this was actually the second event taking place that day. So notice how Brian is able to use the first event to provide additional information to what's happening now.
Looking across the floor, we saw Lionel Franco go really fast and hard in the beginning of the first workout. That is not true here. He looks incredibly composed and deliberate in his movement, and we'll see what happens at the end of the second round. Right now, Tudor has a commanding lead against this field, but he's already breaking in this round of power cleans.
Big rest, big rest.
So he's able to compare how an athlete tackled the first event to how they're handling an event now, but at the same time completely maintaining control over what's going on the field at the moment. Then notice how much information he's able to deliver after being asked a question about Tudor's grip.
What do you think about that grip? Wide grip for Tudor Magda?
I'm okay with it. It actually looks like he's getting into better and better positions overhead as the workout goes on with the thrusters. Just trying to see here if any of the guys are able to close on him. Once again, he has a 3-rep lead on Samsonov, so their pacing is very similar. And Franco is still exactly 2 reps behind Dennis. So no one has made any move at this point. The kind of leads that were established have been maintained across the board for these 4 guys as they're getting ready to enter into the last round.
So initially he addresses the question about Tudor's grip, and what's nice is he addresses it in regards to Tudor, how it's affecting him. A criticism we often hear is how commentators rely on their own athletic experience, but here Brian is focusing purely on Tudor and the effect it's having on him. He's then able to give us a comprehensive breakdown of the field and exactly where everybody stands. Now, jumping ahead to the end of the event, as Tudor is getting ready to finish, notice the amount of information Brian is able to convey into exactly what Tudor needs to do.
But right now I'm looking at Tudor. He's got 33 seconds to get 18 reps in if he wants to go for the win. So he absolutely has to do this set of thrusters unbroken. Most likely it still won't be enough time, because it takes about 22 seconds to do the 9 burpees for most of the athletes. So it looks like Pete Mason's time from Heat 1 is going to stand as the overall winner for the men. If that's the case, then 4:20 and 4:21 are the next 2 times, which is exactly 21 seconds from now. So if he's able to do that, he'll take second in this event, and he could be right up there in the overall lead going into day 2. Yep, Mason's time is in the bank. Every second matters here for Magda, though, as he wants to try to create as much separation as he can. 4:15, second overall on the event. Samsonov and Franco.
So he's able to break down exactly how much time it's taking the average athlete to get through this portion of the workout, the realization that Tudor just does not have enough time to take that first place, and also what a second place finish would mean for him on the overall leaderboard. So Tudor finishes, he wins that heat, and now instead of focusing on Tudor lying on the floor, we immediately switch back to the rest of the field and what they're doing.
He's okay. Franco's in at 4:29. Samsonov is not. So that means that Sprague should be 5th or 6th overall, which is definitely still a respectable finish in this workout. Samsonov in at 4:38, and we have Ewing still working on the thrusters.
So we see how everybody finishes, we understand what that means for the bigger picture of the event, and then the people start to speak up.
Woo! Woo!
Brian, you sound like a horse commentator.
I couldn't agree more. Johan Lopez, this is what commentating sounds like. Teddy Williams, Brian is on fire. Great call, Brian. Austin Hartman, Brian is crushing.
So it seems like the people watching really loved Brian's commentary. This is what they wanted to see from a CrossFit event. But then this happens.
Eric Oliver, I can't do this at the games, but coverage at comps with less competitors, smaller fields. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Disagreed.
Let's test Brian. Let's give him 2 more competitors on the floor and see what he does. I'm up for it. Beyond the Metcon, Brian, do this way more. This is commentating.
So that's an interesting observation. Obviously, Brian did only have to call 4 athletes at this point. So what would happen on a larger field? We also have to wonder, is Brian unique, or could there be equally talented statisticians that could call events in a similar way? So there was that comment about the size of the field, but I was critical about the commentary at Rogue, for example, and that compared to the games is a much smaller field, and the athletes that were competing were well-known household names. And I can also understand that CrossFit might not want to roll the dice and bring on new unknown people to commentate at their events. But then it's also true at semi-finals and other events we have entire heats that are streamed without commentary. Could that not be an opportunity to train other people to start commentating on CrossFit events, or at least try them out, see how they do? Is this more statistical approach something that people respond to? Maybe we could just adjust the pairings. We have some great commentators in the CrossFit space, but could we pair them up in a different way so that you have a Brian Friend type with a mic so that we're getting that kind of commentary provided at the same time? Because for a lot of people, it seems like this is the kind of thing they want to hear when watching a CrossFit event. But as always, I'm intrigued to know what you think, so please let me know in the comments. Did you watch the Zealous Games? Were you enjoying Brian Friend's commentary? Is this the kind of thing you would like to see applied at other CrossFit competitions? Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.